Hello, Peggy here. Really glad to be here today to be with you about experientially seeing your thoughts for what they are. So, welcome to today's Facebook Live, and I'm Peggy O'Neill, and I founded this community where we answer that call, that nagging sense that there must be something more to life, that sometimes it's, I want to know who I truly am or what's happening in the world. How is the world created? And I mean, I don't mean like from the beginning, but I mean, how are things happening the way that they are? I want to understand life. I want to understand myself, my relationship with life. And so that's what we do here. We answer that call, that nagging, that longing. Any longing that we have is coming from ourselves. We tend to look for an answer out there, but here we find the answers in here with some guidance. That's what I do. I bring the guidance to it, bring exercises like we'll have today, and questions and articles. So thank you for being here today to answer the call so that we know who we truly are, which is a shared being with everything and everyone, and we're all love and peace and happiness. That's our essential nature. So as we begin today, if you're watching this on replay, please put in hashtag replay, and glad to know you're here. And if you're here live, please say hi. And if you have any questions at any time, please post them and I will respond. So today, as we get started, this is going to be experiential, so I'm going to invite you to check in with yourself as I ask questions, and we may do a closed eye. I don't know. We'll see how this goes as we go along. And so we'll start with our thoughts. Our thoughts, and what is the nature of our thoughts, and seeing them for what they truly are. So, what we tend to do with our thoughts, mainly because most of us, until you've come here, haven't thought very much about our thoughts. We don't think much about our thoughts. It's just something happening. In fact, all of us have a little voice, if you will, running in our heads all the time, or that's the way we describe it. That's not accurate, but that's the way we describe it. And some people aren't even aware of that. So if you've never thought of that before, and I don't mean it in a judgmental way, but I mean that's just how much we haven't really looked into what our thoughts are, which is why it's so important for us to have this conversation. So if you haven't ever done that before, then I'm going to pause for a few seconds and let you notice the little voice that's always talking to you. So it's that little voice, the one that's saying, what's she talking about? I don't have a little voice, or what's she going to do today? That's the voice that's always going on. And those are our thoughts. Those are our thoughts. And what we're doing unwittingly is identifying with those thoughts. So one of the things we do here, as well, is to notice what we're not. And that's one of the things we're not. We're not our thoughts. Other times we've talked about we're not our emotions, we're not our bodies. Focusing on thoughts today. But we identify with them. And one way that helps us, so to speak, I mean, one of the reasons that it's so easy for us to identify with them is we say a lot of things starting with I am. I am friendly. I am a coach. I am tired. I am afraid of what's going to happen next. Because the statement I am is so powerful, because we know in our experience, I am here. We know we exist. There's a sense of existence in us. And then we add a lot of things to that sense by adding all those characteristics or possibilities after I am. So that's one of the ways we know that we identify with them more. And of course, the Descartes said, I think, therefore I am. Not accurate, but most of us have taken on that philosophy that was handed down for hundreds of years now. Hey, Sharon, so glad you're here. Hope you're doing well. So we identify with our thoughts. Another way we know is because we do what they say. We without again knowing it. We in fact we try to listen to what am I trying to tell myself? We say things like that all the time. So we identify with our thoughts. Now, let's look. Let's look at what these thoughts are. So again, we have all these qualifiers. I am. And then we end it with things like tired, lazy, I'm good at this, I'm not good at that, so on and so forth. And we believe those. See, we believe our thoughts because we believe whatever that thought is telling us about ourselves. So you can think right now, yeah, what are the things I tell myself all the time about myself? I am bad at this, I am good at this, I am, and then the roles that we play, I'm a coach, a mother, a father. So we can look at all that. All of those labels cover over our essential nature, which is this open, allowing space. Who we are is pure awareness. But all of those identifiers and qualifiers are what covers over or veils over our knowing of our essential selves. That's why we're exploring this today, so we can realize, oh, thoughts are just doing what thoughts do. Thoughts are just thoughting. They're just thoughts. They're not who I am. So we don't identify with them. So whatever you came up with that you ended after I am for yourself, you can notice that. Oh yeah, I think I'm this, I think I'm that. None of that is true. You're not any of that. Yes, you might play out those roles, do those things, feel those things occasionally, but it's not who you are. Who you essentially are, again, is pure awareness, consciousness, source. So what else do our thoughts do? They complain a lot, don't they? I don't like this. I wish this would be different. This should be different. Whatever we add to it, that's a complaint. So our thoughts are complaining a lot. Our thoughts are editorializing a lot. You should do this. You shouldn't do that. You should have done this. You're wrong that you did this. You did that poorly. You did that badly. Or you did that very well. Either way, of course, we tend to pay more attention to the negative ones as far as identifying with them. So you can think, yeah, what complaints do I articulate? It's too cold in here, too hot in here. I don't like what I'm having to do right now. I'm about to move to Arkansas at the end of December, so I've been noticing that one's been coming to me. I don't like all that I'm having to do to prepare for the move. We'll talk about what to do about that in a little bit. But so we complain. Those thoughts complain. Those thoughts narrate. See, we think when I get up to get a glass of water, and then I'm telling myself, oh, I'm going to go get a glass of water, we think the thought came first. It's not actually how it happens. Our body starts engaging in that direction. And then as we're doing it, we have a thought about it, a narrator that tells us what's going on. Science has even proven this. They've done some sort of body scan. I don't know how they do it. Some sort of scan where when somehow they've set the person up to make a decision, seemingly make a decision, the body registers at 7 seconds before the person realizes they've had this thought that seems to be a decision. So science has proven what I'm saying right now, that it narrates. Our thoughts narrate. Thoughts tell us we have problems. Right? I have a money issue. I have a relationship issue. I have a job issue. I have a time issue. Whatever all the problems are. I have a broken this, a broken that. All the problems. If you didn't have any thoughts, would you have any problems? No. Our thoughts tell us what to think about ourselves. We've been talking about that. But also what to think about others. Judgments we make, opinions. They should do this, they shouldn't do that. They're a bad person, they're a good person. On and on. And we listen to them. I'm not saying there aren't times to make discernments. So people are not their behavior, and behavior is certain behavior is unacceptable and needs to be dealt with. That's not what I'm talking about today. What I'm talking about is us noticing how that's just what our thoughts do: judge and opine all the time. And we then and that influences then how we feel, how we think about another person, how we interact with another person. When what we can remember when our thoughts are in relationship to another person is remember who they essentially are. Oh, I'm sharing my being with this person. And then even if I need to correct or talk to them about changing something about their behavior, now it's coming from this sense of we're in this together, and love and peace, rather than coming from the judgment about this person. So anyway, so our thoughts judge and opine. And of course, I've already said this in a different way, but a lot of shoulds, right? We should do this, we should have done that, we shouldn't do this. Let's see. Oh, our thoughts also want to take us to the future. We start worrying about the future. What's going to happen tomorrow? What am I going to do tomorrow? What's going to happen a year from now? Or to the past. We regret yesterday, or we review yesterday, or maybe we remember fond memories of yesterday. And our thoughts have to do that, either take us to the past or take us to the future, because our thoughts cannot know now, because now is eternal, and thoughts are not eternal. They're not who we are. Who we are is eternal. So our thoughts don't know now. So notice thoughts that you have about the past, thoughts about the future, including maybe, I wonder how much longer she's going to talk. That's a future. That's future oriented right there. And right now, check in with yourself. Can you experience the future? Probably not. I mean, you might think you do, but if but anyway, can can you experience the past? No. We can have a memory about the past, but when do we even experience that memory? Now. We can have a thought about the future, but when do we experience that? Now. So our thoughts want to take us out of now, and now is all there is. Let's see. Our thoughts come and go. So you might have noticed we've had a lot of thoughts, just the ones I've guided you to pay attention to in the last 12, 13 minutes. So our thoughts come and go. Again, so we can't be our thoughts. They're just always coming and going, coming and going, coming and going. They arise and disappear, arise and disappear. So right now, I invite you to notice notice a thought. And now ask yourself, where did that thought come from? Probably can't find it. You might tell yourself it's coming from my brain, but that's a concept about where it came from. It's a concept. In your experience, where did it come from? And you can notice that you can't find where it's coming from. So what does that mean? Again, it just means that they just appear. They appear from source. They appear from really who we are, because we are source, one with everything. So their thoughts just come to us, and then they disappear. Try to hold on to a thought right now. Notice a thought and then try to hold on to it. I notice you can't. Now, one time when I was asked to do this, I kept repeating the thought to myself, and then realized, oh, I'm just repeating the thought. I'm not really holding on to the same thought. So repeating it is not holding on to it. Let's see. And our thoughts also contradict themselves. So have you ever noticed that you decide to do something in the newsletter that went out yesterday? You might have read this. I'll just use the same example. But the other day, as I was writing that article for the email, I thought, oh, now's a good time to walk. So I got dressed to go walk, and while I was putting on my coat and gloves, and the thought came to me, you don't have time to do this right now. You need to finish the article. Our thoughts contradict themselves all the time. And one of the things that we can acknowledge is we can't change our thoughts. So a lot of us over the years, and I was one of them. I've been coaching for 30 years. Before I found this and started living it, let's say almost 5 years ago now. So for like 25 years, that's what I and most coaches are taught to do, help people change their thoughts. Oh, you believe this? Let's create a different belief for you. Or as you notice you're thinking about somebody, think something else. We can't change our thoughts because we might notice, as I did over the years, that I might try to change those thoughts that were coming to me. But of course, I didn't know this, so I didn't know they were coming to me. But I would have this thought, and then I'd think, oh, I need to think this instead. But I'm not changing any thought that came to me. And hopefully, I'm remembering in that moment, if I can, then what I really want to think about the person or the situation. We actually can't change thoughts. We can't improve our thoughts. We don't have control over our thoughts. So that can bring compassion and peace to ourselves to realize, oh, I can't do what I've been told for years. We're told over and over to change your mindset. We can't do that. We can't do that. Yeah. So, of course, then we want to know, well, what do we do instead? Well, what we do instead is actually continue to come back to all these noticings over and over until it really registers with us that, yeah, I'm not my thoughts and I'm not in control of them. And as we do that, the more and more, and you might have even experienced it just in this short time together, some sense of freedom. When we start letting it really sink in, I don't have control of these thoughts. What freedom? Because we judge ourselves. See, we judge ourselves about judging. But then we have such freedom, we don't have to listen to any of that. Because all it is, I and the people in the praxis on Monday watched, I think it was Monday, watched a video from Alan Watts. And one of the things he said about thoughts is they're like this. They're just a bunch of noise. So that's the relationship we can have with our thoughts. They're just a bunch of noise. And once we have that relationship, then it opens the space for other kinds of thoughts to come to us. Why? Because now we're more open, we're more free, we're more allowing, we feel more peaceful, more loving, more allowing, because we're not focusing on these thoughts. Then we can notice other thoughts that come to us that may be very different because we're now open in a different way. Plus, because we're now influenced with all this information and being in relationship with our thoughts in different ways, then other things can come to us, other ideas, and then we can more naturally, when we're with other people, be how we really want to be with other people. We really want to be caring and open and in service. That's our natural way. And so it naturally starts happening. We don't have to try to do anything differently. We don't have to try to change our thoughts to align with that. They start aligning naturally. Or we might notice some thoughts and then naturally think something different that comes to us differently, but not out of us controlling it, out of us allowing that to happen. So that is it today. I'm glancing at my notes to see if I have anything else. But so the main purpose of today is to help us create a relationship with thoughts for what they are. They're just like clouds in the sky. They're just coming and going. They're appearing and disappearing. And yet most of us are trapped in a cage. We think thoughts are in our mind, so it feels like a mind cage almost. But our whole being's in a cage because we're paying attention to these thoughts and we're letting them uh, guide us, tell us what to feel. We do react to them. Now, let me make this clear too. We will still, those thoughts will keep coming. They'll keep coming. But when we have the relationship with them that I'm offering today, then we won't get so activated by them. We won't get so annoyed or fearful or what anxious, worry, whatever with them. And sometimes we will, no matter how long and how steady you are with sticking with this, just still sometimes they will. But then we even notice that. Then we notice that that's what's occurring, and we allow that as well. We don't add to it that, oh, it should be different, or I should be further along, or this shouldn't be happening, because it'll keep happening. The thoughts that resonate with our conditioning will keep coming, and these feelings will keep coming, but we won't have the suffering that goes with them, because now we're not adding the piece about I like this, I don't like this, it should be different, it shouldn't be different. We don't add that to it. Even the thought, we can have a thought it should be different or shouldn't be different, but we realize that that's just another thought, instead of adding the suffering piece, that we believe that thought that it should be different. I hope that made sense. That made sense. So, so just going forward, just allow your thoughts. Allow your thoughts, and that's that's it. That's it. Just allow them, and but notice when you are attached to them or believe them, and just don't believe them. Just go, oh, I'm thinking that's true right now. No, I'm not going to think that's true, because that's just a thought. It's just like a cloud. It's just like a bird that ran, that flew in front of me. I don't need to get involved with these thoughts. Just let them do what they're doing. So you can talk to yourself like that. I do that. Talk to myself. Go, I'm not going to believe that. I don't believe that. That's not true. That's not who I am. Because what we're always doing is remembering who we are. And one of the ways is to know what we're not. We're not our thoughts. Who we are is a shared being with everyone and everything. And our essential nature is love and peace and happiness and fulfillment, freedom. So are there any questions, comments? Sharon, anything you want to add or ask? And as Sharon's contemplating that, thank you all for being here today. Okay, here we go. The less I try to explain thoughts to myself or the feelings they generate, the easier it is to just be. Thank you for adding that in your experience, that's what's really being supportive of you. It's just easier it is to let them be when you're not trying to engage with them. Beautiful. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. If you'd like to explore how to deepen this, to really know it, to embody it, then please put a message. You can either put in the comment, contact me, or you can send me a message, a DM, and I'll get in touch and we can talk about how we could work together. One of the best ways is the ongoing praxis, wisdomary leading praxis, that I'd love to explore with you of how it can support you to live this fully in your life. Because what we are doing here, I was just got through on a conference call with somebody telling them what we're working with here is reality. This is reality. Most people aren't living it, but that's okay. We can live it and then live our lives with freedom and joy and peace. And then we're like emitting that in the energy that we all are. We're creating that more at a, let's see, how do I say this? We're always, because we're all interconnected, then what we're experiencing is like, I guess emitted is as good a word, or it goes out into the field. So the more we experience love and freedom and joy, that's what we're contributing to the field. So that's the beauty of this. One of the beauties of this knowing and living is this. So love to talk to you about it at any time. Thank you again for being here. See you next week.